the wisdom of yesteryear to the bullshit of today. And Esau lived like 600 BC. He was a slave for a while. He was a freeman for a while. He lived in a time where, sort of like now, freedom of speech is ever decreasing. And in order to get points across, you had to use fables and stories. So I'm going to just read a few that I think are quite timely for this day and age. Here we go. We are going to start with the bundle of sticks. Once there was a wise farmer whose quarrelsome family drove him almost to distraction. He strove in vain to reconcile his bickering sons with words of good counsel. Then one day he called his sons to the room. Before him lay a bundle of sticks, which he tied together to form a faggot, which is a bundle of sticks. It's not a cigarette butt or a confused man, but a bundle of sticks. Each one of his sons, in turn, was commanded by the father to take up the faggot and break it in two. They all tried, but tried in vain. Then, untying the bundle, the father gave them the sticks to break one by one. This, of course, they did with the greatest of ease. Then said the father, "My sons, by this example you all can see that as long as you remain united, you are a match for all your enemies. But once you quarrel and become separated, then you are destroyed. Application. In union, there is strength." Union. Not diversity, but union. The eagle and the crow. An eagle swooped down from a high rock and pounced on a lamb, gazing near her mother in the field. With a great beating of powerful wings, he seized the lamb and flew away to his nest. A crow sat in an oak tree, watching the eagle's exploit. Said he to himself, "Surely this is an easy way to find oneself a dinner." So spying a sturdy old ram, below him, he bore down with all his force he could muster, intending to carry the ram off as a prize. He fastened his claws in the wool and tugged with all his might. But nothing happened. As a matter of fact, the ram wouldn't have known he was there if it had not been for the crow's frantic efforts to disentangle his claws from the wool. The crow's quacking attracted the attention of the shepherd, who came up, caught him, and clipped his wings, and took him home to the children for a pet. Application. It requires more than wings to be an eagle. The thief and his mother. A schoolboy stole a horn book from one of his fellows and brought it home to his mother. Instead of chastening him, she said, "That was very clever of you, my son." As the boy grew older, he began to steal things of greater value, until at length, being caught in the very act, he was arrested, tried, found guilty, and sentenced to be hanged. The day of his execution arrived, and he was taken from his cell and led to the gallows. In the crowd that followed the cart, the thief saw his mother weeping and beating her chest. He begged the officers to allow to speak one word to his mother, souring mother's ear. When she came near and inclined her head to hear his last word, he suddenly bared his teeth and bit her savagely on the lobe of her ear. All the bystanders were horrified and pushed forward with threatening gestures towards the thief. They could not understand such inhumane conduct of a son towards his mother. Then he cried out, "You think me a brute, and I am. But I have this woman to thank for the fact that I shall soon be swinging on the gallows. She is my mother. But when I was small and did mischief, instead of punishing me, she encouraged me to my ruin. Behold, an unnatural son, because when I was small, I had an unnatural mother." Application. Spare the rod, spoil the child. The swallow's advice. A farmer was sowing his field with hemp seed, while a swallow and some other birds sat on a fence watching him. "Beware of that man," said the swallow solemnly. "Why should we be afraid of him?" said the other birds. "That farmer is sowing hemp seed," replied the swallow. "It is most important that you pick up every seed that he drops. You will live to regret it if you don't." But of course the silly birds paid no heed to the swallow's advice. So with the coming of the spring rains, the hemp grew up, and one day the hemp was made into a cord, and of the cord nets were made. And many of the birds that had despised the swallow's advice were caught in the nets made of the very hemp that had grown from the seeds they had failed to pick up. Application. Unless the seed of evil is destroyed, it will grow up to destroy us. One more. The Eagle and the Arrow. One day, a bowman saw an eagle soaring lazily in the sky. Quickly, he notched an arrow and sent it whizzing after the bird. It found its mark, and the eagle felt himself wounded to death. As it slowly fluttered to the earth, it saw that the arrow which had pierced his breast was fitted with one of his own feathers. Application. How often do we supply our enemies with the means of our own destruction? So this is really a great read. It's really short, to the point, and in a day and age where falsehoods are truth and truth are falsehoods, it's just good to get something other than lies in your head. So I hope you're taking good care of yourself.